Hi, I drew some A Link to the Past art, and we are going to we're talking over it, basically.
Yeah, the whole thing took like 2 hours, and we didn't want to make you all sit here for 2 hours.
I just like Zelda, and A Link to the Past Zelda has always held a special place in my heart, because, I don't know, she's cute. I think it's just also the change of dress. She has a more formal dress, but I like this. It's very, just like, chill, and I like the blue.
Yeah.
And nowadays, Blue Zelda is normal, because A Link to, Breath of the Wild.
Back to basics.
I personally do not really like Zelda's design in Breath of the Wild. Like, I like her face. I just don't like her outfit. I think it's a little weird. And I think her formal dress is a little weird. It's been kind of growing on me a little bit, but
I don't know. I think it's all right. Yeah, so I had not played A Link to the Past really up until pretty recently because, I don't know, I just never owned it anywhere. And so the Tears of the Kingdom trailer came out recently as of time of recording. And we made like a Zelda game tier list, and I realized, I haven't really played A Link to the Past, and I probably should. I played like A Link Between Worlds, which is kind of sequel-ish. It's a lot of like the same stuff in it.
in Japan, I believe it's called A Link to the Past too.
Yeah.
And I think in the timeline it comes. It's not the same Link, I believe, but it's in that same wing of the timeline.
I think it comes like directly before it, if I remember right.
It's something like that. It's an updated timeline that I haven't really looked at. Anyway.
Zelda timelines.
Anyway.
But yeah, then I decided to try it out because we have it on Super Nintendo now. And yeah, I've been really enjoying it so far, aside from Moldorm, who made me stop playing the game for like a day.
It's really difficult too, and if you're sleepy, don't play it.
Yeah.
Because that game is very Zelda 1-esque, where it's like kind of difficult in some aspects, and I noticed when like I'm starting to get like really frustrated with the Zelda game, I need to put it down, because like
that's just good advice for games in general.
Yeah. And sometimes with puzzles, like if my brain can't figure it out, sometimes I just need to sit and think, or like just take a break. And yeah, but I really like Breath of the Wild. Oh, this is not Breath of the Wild. Link to the Past. I really love Link to the Past. I think it's neat.
So you've done your full sketch here.
Right now I'm adjusting the face because I kind of draw things at a weird I draw things at a slight angle, so it makes the eyes not quite line up, and so I have to adjust it. That's why I use the select tool, moved her eye there, and yeah, now I'm just drawing. Draw.
Yeah, I think I mentioned while you were drawing this, I was like, if I didn't know that this was Zelda, and like aside from like the Triforce earrings, I would say this is like very Princess Peachy.
Yeah, it's definitely like the brooch and the hair. I think it's just something to do with, I believe, 90s hair, or like early 90s, late 80s hair, because like this game came out 1990, 1991, I believe.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Early 90s.
Yeah. But also, if you look at like Zelda's design in Zelda 1, and actually then in Zelda 2, which, okay, real quick, Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, those games are the same Link, but two different Zeldas.
Bet you didn't think you would be getting a whole Zelda lore spiel during this art video, huh?
Yeah, I won't go into that, but that's just a fun fact. But if you look at that Zelda design, because even though they're two separate Zeldas, they share like the same design in most promotional artwork. Very confusing. But they're still like kind of have a very Peach aesthetic, where it's like pink dress and like poofy hair and like I've seen some very great redesigns of that Zelda. I mean, I think she looks really cute. But she doesn't look a lot like how we imagine Zelda today. Because, like, I feel like Peach is, like, elegant, but she's more on the cute side of things.
Sorry, there is a cat climbing my leg.
Yeah, Peach is more on, like, she is elegant, but she's more on the cute side, and, like, Zelda's more on the, like, oh, this lady could look like a queen, or, like, she seems more, like, an authority figure in some games, especially, like, I would think Twilight Princess.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's the first one I thought of when you said that.
Yeah. Ocarina of Time, I feel like she is, but she's, like, a softer Twilight Princess.
Yeah. She's, like, pastel.
Yeah, she's cute. But yeah, I like Zelda, and I like drawing her.
Look at that. One arm. So what is this, like, your usual process for when you're drawing a little character drawing like this? Because you draw a lot of characters.
Yeah, since this is Chibi, I didn't really get a reference. I've been trying to use more references in my art for, like, poses, but, like, since the since this is gonna be so stylized and just kind of cute little Chibi, you don't really need a pose reference, I feel like, unless you're doing something crazy, and she's just standing there basically the same pose as the reference art. So yeah, I would, instead of, like, getting a reference and, like, kind of working with it and sketching with it, I did a sketch, and then I believe I did another sketch. Sometimes I do one or two sketches, depending, I guess, on the drawing. I'll do, like, a sketch where I'm, like, very vague, like, shapes, and like, kind of getting a rough idea of the pose, and I'll do another sketch where it's, like, I flesh out some details. And I try and kind of figure it out where everything will go, because when I'm line arting, I don't want to have to think about that. I just want to, like, line art. But sometimes I still need to add things in. And then I do line art, and then while I do line art, I kind of take it slow and add a lot of extra, like, shadows and lines. Like, you can see that when we zoom out again, maybe. If you see it in the puff of her sleeves, and, like, yeah, there's, like, the line thickness is a little thick there. So it's, like, depth.
Sure, yeah.
That's a big thing I've been working with, is, like, just adding black in places. Like, her belt, like, I don't need to, like, color that in. Like, it's a black belt. Just make it black. Just simplifying details. But yeah. I like taking the line art slow and just having fun with it. And I like adding the, like, thick lines as I go, instead of doing it in, like, a two-part system, just because it's easier. And I think it's more fun to, like, flip-flop between the two. It's a very haphazard way of line arting.
Is the line art, like, the most fun part of it for you, or?
It depends. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It really changes. Sometimes it can be the really tedious part, especially when, like, for some reason it's just not coming out right. Because that's, like, I think the main part of the drawing. Which is something very interesting, because I have been studying the Ocarina of Time art style, and they rely heavily on, like, there is line art, but they also rely heavily on the shading to get a lot of shapes and stuff. And it's very interesting, and that's something I won't delve into super much here, because I need to find better words and things for it. But yeah, coloring's really fun too, because I find it very easy. I've come up with a method that's pretty quick.
Sometimes the easy stuff is the fun stuff.
I also realized for coloring, I've always had, like, weird issues with, like, gaps in coloring, where, like, I use the fill bucket tool and
then it, like, spills out where it's not supposed to.
A little bit of that, but more so I'm talking about, like, where, like, it doesn't fill the whole thing, because it's, like, it's because I had my brush doing anti-aliasing, which is a thing it can do. And so, like, while it does that, it, like, does, like, kind of, like, the tiniest bit of a gradient, so your lines look, like, smoother. So you see how they look kind of pixely?
Yeah.
I already like a texture brush, like chunky kind of stuff like that. So I heard that turning on or turning off anti-aliasing with your brushes can sometimes help with coloring, and it fills the shapes more with the fill bucket tool, making coloring a lot easier. But yeah, I do also have a lot of little spaces in my art, which I try to get, but sometimes I'm just like, nah. And then I have a couple tricks to get the fill bucket tool to work.
I'm sure we'll see that. coming up in a little bit when you get to coloring.
Yeah. I was struggling with her bangs because she has some weird bangs.
She does. That's definitely that 90s, like, Japanese style. Like, just weird haircuts all around.
It's still cute, I think. It's just
It
weird.
is.
Once you start, like, having to break it down to draw it. I also tried to make sure I gave her, like, I wouldn't say it's even a big nose, but just, like, you know, like a more stylistically, like, A Link to the Past appropriate nose. Because, like, her and Link both have kind of, like, weird noses. I think they're cute. I know the art direction in later games tried to go away from it, and they either have, like, pointy noses or smaller noses because they're trying to make the characters more attractive, but I think the long noses are cute.
They're trying to make them attractive instead of adorable.
Yeah, well, like, especially with, like, Ocarina of Time Link, they wanted him to look attractive. There's some reason, I can't remember, I think it was, like, someone's wife was like, why isn't he, like, we should make him, like, more hot, basically. And they based Ocarina of Time's Link design on a very popular celebrity of the time, and I believe it was Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
So that's why he doesn't have such a silly nose. Anyway, now we got into the coloring. So you see there's like a little bit of if you'll have to rewind at this point, but yeah, there's a little.
Well, we can rewind too.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah. So it was like right when I filled.
Back here somewhere.
So I do a lot of weird clipping layer things, and if I need to, I can go into a video explaining all that. But you see there's a little opening at the top of her head, so I just put a little line there. And I do that on the layer that's gonna have the color.
Smart.
I don't do that on the line art layer, because sometimes I do stuff with the line art layer, and those will get in the way. Now I'm shading. But yeah, I do like, I select the areas in the line art layer, then I make a new layer, and then I fill it in, and the selection can stay between layers. And that way the line art and the color layer aren't the same layer. I'm gonna say layer a lot. And then once I get the color down, I make a clipping layer, which is a mask type thing. So I can color and add the shading without bleeding through the lines. And so I can go a lot crazier with it. So that's what I'm doing now, is I'm shading it. And I haven't found a method of shading hair that I like so much. I used to do like little lines in it. I don't know. Hair is kind of complicated, and I haven't
Hair is kind of complicated.
I haven't figured out a way like I really like drawing it or stylizing it. So you see, I when it comes to shading, it's like a lot of like adding color and then using a kind of blendy brush to blend it in, and then adding more color and going back and forth.
Yeah.
It's very see, I tried some lines and then I decided not to. It's very, I feel like my coloring has changed a lot since going to college, because I took a painting class.
Yeah, it was funny when you take classes and learn things.
Yeah, and I really love painting. I love it so much. So a lot of my coloring lately has been very inspired by like digital painting. Very blendy-y. And just adding color, layering, stuff like that. Whee! Now we're adding skin. And I forgot her ear.
Yeah, I think I pointed it out because it was kind of bothering me.
I think I can't remember what. Yeah. Look, we're coloring. Woo.
Whoa.
And with skin, I kind of treat it like makeup, I guess. Where like, I don't know. I had like the shadows and like, I guess the contour and things, and then I add blush at the end to like liven it up, because she's like, you know, a person with blood.
Whoa, really?
And like, if I use the shading color of the skin as the blush, it's not gonna look as good. I also sometimes go very heavy with the blush, and then I can change it in the layer settings, since I do that clipping layer tech like thing.
Gotcha.
Since the flat colors are their own thing, and then the clipping layer is where all the shading is happening, I can turn the opacity down.
I was gonna say, yeah, the opacity.
Yeah, so like, yeah. Now you see I go back and I push the darks a bit. That's another tip. See, look there, I changed the opacity.
Whoa.
One thing I always would like to suggest to people, is something I learned also in painting classes, push the darks. And like, you don't have to go crazy. But like, that just means like making sure you have shadows. Like even, so see, like I have adding shadows that aren't going to be blended in. Just to like, I don't know.
Just to kind of accentuate those parts.
I guess, yeah. Just basically like be like,
whoa, there's depth and stuff.
Yeah. It's really helpful when you're doing like realistic things or more serious art. Cause like, I don't know. It makes things more interesting. And at worst, you just have to recolor things. And when you're in a digital format, it's whatever.
That blending on the dress makes a very nice gradient, I think.
Yeah, I sometimes think, oh, I could probably just do like a gradient and skip the whole coloring and blending process, but I kind of like it because sometimes it adds like messy bits and
it adds just like a little bit of pizzazz.
Yeah, that's some character. So now I'm shading the white, and I made it really dark, so that's why I'm going back in too. And yeah. That's another thing, is like, if you go too dark, you can just add highlights and blend it in, and then keep blending, and just, it's all about layering.
Yeah.
And blending. And also when I do color layers, I do separate things. So like right now, I think I have a white layer for like the underdress, and there's like a separate layer for the blue, and then there's a separate layer for skin and hair, and that way I can focus on each part without getting in the way of other parts.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think to put like that dark of a color on white like that.
Yeah, but you see it like
but like once you blend it, it doesn't like stay that dark.
Yeah, and that way, like sometimes too with like tiny areas, instead of just doing kind of like a cell shady thing like I did with some parts on her neck and face, I did go in with a tiny blendy brush and just to work those details, because I wanted to make the ruffles in her dress really, I guess, pretty. Now I'm doing metal.
Nice.
Metal, I have a method I use over and over, which is just dark lights. And then sometimes a little bit of white to add some shine.
Oh, the cat is back to attacking my leg.
You'll notice the like whites and shiny bits with her earrings and jewelry. So I had like little white specks.
Yeah.
I just make some shiny.
I really like the little white lines.
And that was me showing how, with the fill bucket tool, it made it really cool when I take the line art off. And now we're playing with blending modes. So I put a blue layer on top, like kind of like her dress color, and then I just put that like a layer on top of the whole thing, because I merged everything, the line art and everything. And just played with blending modes until I found something I was cute, and this one kind of like softened all the colors. And then I took a color that wasn't utilized super much, like it was mostly the color in her gemstone for the background.
Accent color.
And then I just played with filters. I just screwed around.
Yeah, this is a really fun way to make backgrounds. I love how you did this.
Yeah. Like if you're not doing like a serious background, and since I especially put like a white layer around her, or like a white outline around her, just do something fun. Just play around. Gradients, like filter tools, liquify tools, really fun. Yeah, and then I copy pasted it, changed the color, and then added some glow. Then I tried something and it didn't work out. Oh well.
That happens sometimes.
And then I just stole a watermark from my another drawing, because I'm trying to keep it consistent. But yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the process. That's the magic.
Yeah, and if anyone ever wants me to, I can like sit down and go through it a lot better. If anyone wants tutorials, I'll happily do it. It's something I've thought about.
Vinny art class. Vinny art class.
Yeah, I went to college and got a bunch of debt. But you don't have to.
Yeah.
I am more than willing to show what I learned.
I have already learned so much from watching you, because I am not a visual artist.
Did you like it?
I did, yeah. As someone who occasionally opens up Photoshop to do a thing, you're definitely better at the visual side of things than I am.
I've also, I will say, I've been drawing since I was like very little. Because my dad would draw me pictures, so I would draw pictures, and I've started digitally drawing like in high school. So, you know, I'm old now. Not really old, but you know,
We're both old now. That's how it works.
practice makes perfect. No, well, not perfect. Practice makes progress.
Yeah, practice makes better.
Better. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my really fast explanations. I hope it wasn't too confusing.
Yeah, if you want to see more stuff like this, leave a comment and let us know. And we will happily do more of it.
I would love to keep drawing for you guys. Yep.
Yeah, and if you have any suggestions on like a character that you want to draw, Vinny does have commissions that exist. So I will link that in the description. So if you want some custom art done by that guy right there, you know where to find it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.